Yo, what's up everyone? Kamusta sa inyong lahat mga kaibigan at mga kapitbahay? Wuthering Waves has built its reputation on lightning fast, skill-based combat, demanding precision and timing from its players. Yet, as the game grows and the community diversifies, a debate has emerged. Should Wuthering Waves introduce a dedicated shielder resonator? In other gacha games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, for example, shielders like Zhongli and Gepard offer unparalleled defense, letting players focus on offense or strategy without fearing instant defeat. But would this type of resonator mesh with Wuthering Waves' design ethos? Or would it shift the game's balance too far in the name of accessibility? Interestingly, shield mechanics aren't entirely foreign to Wuthering Waves. Game modes like the Elusive Realm let players dabble with shields through buffs and echoes, yet a full-fledged user-friendly shielder for everyday gameplay remains conspicuously absent. The game does feature resonators with shielding capabilities, but they do fall short of the reliable defense standards seen in other games. Taushe, for example, focuses on self-sustain, making her invaluable in solo encounters but lackluster in team survival. Her utility doesn't extend far in co-op or team synergy. Jianxi, on the other hand, offers temporary shields that require skillful execution to maximize its effectiveness. While rewarding for experienced players, her shields lack the simplicity or duration that casual players might need to stay in the fight. Both resonators highlight the gap in Wuthering Waves' current shield meta, a gap that a dedicated shielder could fill. In Genshin Impact, Zhongli exemplifies the perfect shielder. His shields absorb immense damage, require minimal skill to activate, and allow players to shift their focus entirely to offense or exploration. Similarly, Gepard from Honkai Star Rail ensures his team's survival with a near impenetrable shield, offering a much-needed crutch in tougher battles. These characters aren't just fictional, they're game-defining. Their simplicity and utility make them indispensable for casual players and veterans alike, but therein lies a double-edged sword. Would a shielder of this caliber fit Wuthering Waves' high-stakes, dodge-oriented combat, or would it trivialize the very challenge that defined the game's identity? For many players, the game's steep learning curve is both a thrill and a hurdle. Casual gamers and newcomers in particular might find the constant demands of dodging and precise execution overwhelming. A dedicated shielder could act as a soft landing, offering these types of players a buffer while they acclimate to the game's mechanics. This approach has been used successfully in other games to expand their player base, balancing accessibility without alienating hardcore fans. Imagine a resonator whose shield is easy to activate and forgiving in its uptime. It wouldn't just be about survival, it'd empower players to explore, experiment, and grow confident in their abilities. But not everyone is sold on this idea. Wuthering Waves thrives on its dynamic, skill-based combat. Adding a powerful shielder could dilute this identity, shifting the focus from dodges and timing to passive defense. Now, consider this. If players can rely on an invulnerable shield, what happens to the excitement of narrowly dodging a boss's devastating attack? What about the satisfaction of mastering enemy patterns? A shielder might replace these moments with a more static, less engaging playstyle. There's also the risk of creating a meta dependency. If a shielder becomes the go-to for high-end content, players could feel pressured to pull for them or risk being sidelined in co-op and late-game challenges. With 2.0 on the horizon, Wuthering Waves will continue to expand its roster and refine its combat and gameplay mechanics. Could one of these new additions finally bring the dedicated shielder role that players have been speculating about? The concept seems ripe for exploration, particularly if Puro Games is looking to diversify playstyles and cater to a broader audience. One exciting possibility is a support shielder hybrid, a resonator whose shielding abilities scale dynamically with team synergy. Instead of a static one-size-fits-all shield, this character could adapt based on the number of allies nearby, their health levels, or even their combat roles. Such a design would add layers of strategic depth, encouraging players to experiment with team compositions and tactical approaches. For example, a shield that becomes stronger as allies perform offensive combos or land critical hits could promote a more aggressive, team-oriented style of play. Imagine shields that aren't just a passive safety net but an active reward for skilled play. Shields could trigger upon successful parries, counters, or precision dodges, maintaining Wuthering Waves' hallmark emphasis on timing and execution. This approach would ensure the shield mechanic doesn't overshadow the game's fast-paced combat identity, but instead integrates seamlessly into it. The potential is vast, but execution is everything. Kuru Games faces the challenge of balancing accessibility and strategic depth without diluting the game's core identity. A well-designed shielder could attract new players and offer a fresh playstyle for veterans, but missteps could lead to unbalanced gameplay or disrupt the high-stakes, skill-based combat that defines the game. Whether version 2.0 will deliver such a resonator remains to be seen, but the idea is undeniably intriguing. So what is your take on this? Should Wuthering Waves introduce a true shielder to its roster? Or does the current dodge-heavy combat system strike the perfect balance of skill and intensity? It's a tough question, and it really comes down to the direction Kuru Games wants to take with the game. A dedicated shielder could offer a welcoming entry point for newer players and change the way we think about team composition. But at the same time, we don't want to lose the core thrill of Wuthering Waves' high-risk, high-reward gameplay. Do you think that adding shields might dilute the feeling of accomplishment that comes with dodging an enemy's deadly attack at the last second? Or could it open up new possibilities for tactical team setups that make the game even more dynamic? Maybe a balance can be struck, one that keeps the game challenging for veterans while making it more accessible for casuals. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but it's something worth discussing as the game continues to evolve. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think a dedicated shielder is what Wuthering Waves needs, or would it break the game's unique identity? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. There is so much more to explore as we get closer to version 2.0, and I can't wait to dive into the next big discussion with you all. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.